Leatherman is in the news again in the multi-tool world, and this may be one of the biggest scams that I have seen recently. There is a company or companies that is taking, it looks like the Leatherman skeletal, and either they are using AI for the pictures, they are doctoring pictures using who knows what, some photoshopping program, and then selling them on Facebook from what it sounds like. And then I saw it on Amazon for $30 each. Now, I wanted to tell you guys because if you see this, it sounds like it's going online around the internet, especially on eBay, brand new Leatherman skeletals for $30. You need to be very, very careful. Now, I found two of these skeletals on Amazon and everything looks the same except it doesn't have Leatherman in the picture. And I may be able to show you some pictures on screen, but unfortunately they have been removed from Amazon. You cannot see the listing anymore. But in the pictures, they don't have Leatherman on the or above the plier pivot. Everything else is pretty much the same, but there's just no Leatherman. It's just like blank. So it looks like, I don't think I saw Leatherman on the handle either, but in the description, it talks about being from Portland, Oregon, which is obviously where Leatherman is from. And so they are trying to be deceptive and trick people. I don't even know if I will get my product supposedly in a month or so, or in a couple weeks it will come, but I'm highly skeptical. Hopefully I can get all my money refunded from Amazon. We'll see what happens. I did run across an article on, I think, Multitool World about how these are over Facebook. I haven't seen these advertised anywhere else, just saw them on Amazon, but be careful. That's what I want to warn. Be careful. I will review them if I actually get the product, but I don't even know if it will be the product that looks like the skeletal. Be very, very careful. This probably is a scam. Just very quickly, I want to make sure that all of you guys catch this bit of news about this tool at the end. And then also, hey, only about 21% of you are subscribed. I would really appreciate if you would hit that subscribe button right now. So the next thing I want to show you is the thumb studs for the Leatherman Free series. Different times I do reviews and people say, where do you get the things? And this is sent in by one of the people that watch this channel, and he has an eBay store. I'm not sure if he's an Etsy store or not, but I know he has an eBay store. So I will leave links below for that. And then it comes in this packaging. And one of the things you'll notice is there's different thicknesses in the screw sizes, depending on where you have or are using the thumb stud. Now, it does come with these instructions, so they're fairly easy to figure out. And then I know some of you in the past have mentioned, like, why would you ever have a thumb stud? I think it is on the saw, yeah, because it potentially could limit the use of the saw. Well, different people have asked for thumb studs because maybe they're not that worried about that, or, you know, they use it for shorter tasks. I'm not really sure. But anyway, there are options available and you can decide whether you want to use it for that or not, for the serrated blade, the knife. Now, in different areas where you put this thumb stud, like for the knife, you need a very thin screw on the other side of this. So you can get pretty good purchase on this blade using this right here. So it works pretty well. And then on this one, I think I could use a little bit of a thicker screw on this side, but the knife, there's not as much clearance before it almost hits some of these like screwdrivers. So be very mindful of that. And he has things written down like which blade it's for. And so that's helpful. And then he also, at least in mine, included this little Torx driver so that you can tighten yours down, which is very helpful. So make sure you check him out. I will leave links below to his store. Now, there's 2 points I want to address with Taylor Martin's most recent video on Leatherman knives. Now, I don't usually do reaction videos. That's not really my thing, but I did think it was fascinating 2 points that he made And also, I think Audible, or one point was a point he made, and one was where he had recorded his factory tour of Leatherman, and where they had showed the brand new wing where they make knives, or the factory across the road where they make knives. You need to watch that video, probably. It's very informative. And one of the things he mentioned is that Leatherman essentially is on purpose making decisions that cause the cost of the knife to be more expensive. I don't know if that's exactly how he said it, but essentially they're taking thick billets of steel and then they're machining that down so that it has a pivot that's machined in with the handle. Now, that may be something they feel like will make it stronger, but there are ways to make it cheaper, to do, workarounds like most other knife companies do. And so his point was that while Leatherman mass produces things, even like the P4 and the P2 and the ARC, as long as they're still making them, they mass produce those in thousands. With these knives, it takes several hours just to maybe make one handle. And so the price will be a lot more expensive. That's why $300 for a knife and then only $250 for a whole multi-tool, because the process is so much mass produced and subsequently is a lot quicker. So that made sense. That sort of addressed that point. But then to me, I feel like Leatherman needs to work on their process. If Leatherman wants to be competitive in the knife market, I think they really need to change their knife process and start making things a little bit quicker, because their process is holding themselves back, is what it sounds like. Now, one of the things that I found most shocking about in this video was that the head at Leatherman actually said he did not want to make these knives fidget toys. And now you can get this $10 Ozark trail that has very smooth action with supposedly this D2 knife blade. It works. I mean, it just glides open and glides closed. Really, really nice. And then with these series, it seems like they have essentially the same action as the K2 and the K4, where, yeah, maybe you can flick them open a little bit. This one you can't that much, but maybe you can. But then when you release the lock, you have to almost help it closed. And the only way to get it to have smoother action, anything close to the $10 Ozark trail, is to do some, I wouldn't say major, but you have to essentially smooth out the washers, maybe add some oil, all kinds of stuff like that. And then you get a little bit smoother action. Now, for $300, I would assume that most people would expect Leatherman to have already done that. But again, the one in charge of the project said, hey, he wanted a knife that felt like a tool, not a toy. I take issue with that a little bit, because Leatherman, the Leatherman Free Series and the ARC, definitely feel a lot more like a fidget toy with all the magnets. And Leatherman said this is one of their tougher tools. So if that's the case, yeah, that doesn't make sense to me at all. So the knives have to be harder to open and close because it has to be tool-like. But with the Leatherman Free Series, you can have all that fidget factor with the magnets. That doesn't really make sense to me. I don't know. I think at Leatherman, they need to rethink their knife line. I don't think I'll be buying one unless you guys really want me to review one. This isn't really a knife channel, so let me know below if you would really love to see one, but otherwise I probably will just wait. Maybe I'll get one on the used market eventually, but probably not. The last thing I wanted to talk about is Koyu. Again, they sent out a teaser post, and he talked about a new multi-tool that will look almost exactly like the Leatherman Free T4. The huge difference is it will actually have a bit driver included. And I think that's a pretty big deal. that looks really nice. It will look very, very, very similar to the T4, but there will be some big differences as well. So you can probably see some pictures on the screen right now where I included that, but it does look like a pretty cool tool. And I did message him on, I think maybe this post, and I said, hey, you've got 4 to 6 projects that looks like coming out soon. And he said all within this year. So it's going to be a while next couple months as a lot of these are going to start rolling out. We're waiting on a lot of other new multi-tools that maybe might be out within the end of the year. The SOG Tellus, and then Windler, and some of the other ones as well. So all kinds of stuff happening. Make sure to keep watching the channel.